Hello and welcome. My name is Cheryl and I'm a spiritual medium. And I, with Spirit, crafted these vignettes. This is one of a beginning of a wider conversation that we will have. I have also put together a whole presentation called A Spirit's Journey. And these vignettes were some pieces of it. The Spirit's Journey puts it all together from the moment of deciding to incarnate, all the many decisions, all through our lifetime, and now going home. So this is a very small vignette of a bigger conversation to have in the future of my vignettes, and you'll see it's a deeper conversation in the Spirit's Journey on part 6. So what happens when I die? Um, can I tell you just before we even move? This is sometimes a very difficult conversation because our ego and our fear make death a very sad and devastating. And not that it's not. I don't mean to be. I don't. That is not where I'm going. But what I hope to have you see is, and I hope that you find your truth wherever that is, and it's very different for all of us. But it is a going home. It is returning back home. And that is really a beautiful piece. So as we move forward on, and again, I know that I really move very delicately on this because there is so much emotion, so much sadness, so much despair when we think of loved ones that have went back home and all that come along with that. So I'm going to just really try to keep this very surface. And I ask you to please stay with me in these vignettes because we will talk in a deeper fashion and we will spiral back to these conversations. So I ask you to open your heart and see what you need for this vignette. So our human death, and I have to say that it's human. Our eternal spirit never dies, and in fact, when I'm speaking with spirit, and as you would imagine, when I'm channeling loved ones from my clients, I always tell them, and I wish I could just open up my spiritual third eye and just let them see they are never more alive than they are on the other side. They are so happy and they are so at peace, and 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 I hope that brings comfort. And but our ego takes a hold of us, and we say, "Well, how could they have left us? Why did they leave us? And why did they leave us in X, Y, and Z?" And those are excellent questions. And when I speak with clients, I tell them what is being channeled to me. Well, this was your challenge, or this was your path, or this is what the conversation is endless. So I can't even tell you all the different avenues that spirit channels through. But know that when your loved ones are on the side, they're not judging you. They're not shaking their fingers at you. They're not saying, "Well, I wish they would have," or there is none of that. No matter what happened in this three-dimensional life, they are 100% on your side on the other side. And I'll tell you why. And that would be the fourth bullet. So when we do pass, just like many people have said that that had near-death experiences, that there's a light, a tunnel. That is absolutely what happens. And our loved ones meet us. They meet us and they greet us. They know that we're coming, and they get a frequency or vibration knowing that you're coming home. So again, these are future vignettes when we get a lot deeper into a lot of these pieces. Again, as I move through these vignettes, I really am with spirits help. I am really just laying a very basic foundation, but there is so much more that we can talk about. So, and you can choose, and we'll talk about that in spiritual vignette number 11. You can choose. You can become an earthbound spirit. You can choose not to move to the light, and that's what we associate as ghosts. And again, I have about so much to talk to you about that, but I'm just going to leave that as is. So, yes, we always have the choice. We are born with choice. We can choose not to go to the light for many different reasons. And I see many, many earthbound spirits, and there's so many different reasons why they're earthbound spirits. And we also can choose what we call a left door, and that is where dark spirits move. And we'll talk about that a little deeper in an upcoming vignette. And if death is traumatic, if our three-dimensional self was not spiritually in line and it became very traumatic in a death, there is nothing more beautiful than to see, and I have seen this with my as I see death coming into heaven, and I have been awarded that beautiful blessing to see that. There is strong comfort, and there is a battalion of spirits come, and they almost like cocoon those traumatic spirits that are coming in, and they move them to isolation and just comfort them until they've realized what kind of transpired, and then they blossom into a beautiful, peaceful spirit. And when we do move going home, and this is what I want to kind of talk about as well, uh, there's almost like a Scrooge-like experience. And I know that's a three-dimensional term, but I try to use as many three-dimensionals and metaphorical terms as I can because I need them as a three-dimension to kind of understand. Um, so when we do move to the other side, we are just greeted with God's beautiful arms and our family and our loved ones, and we are never judged. The ones that judge us are ourselves. We judge ourselves completely. But I want to say we don't judge ourselves with scrutiny. We don't say, oh, I was just awful. I'm such a bad, bad person. We don't do that on the other side. Those emotions don't exist. As soon as we leave flesh and blood, we are at an optimal level of emotion. But we do recognize when we were not successful at certain parts of our path. We do see that, and we see it in a sort of a movie. It's in a dome, and it's in a certain facility, and we do see it's like our lives just float right through us, and we do see the contributions that we made, and the people that we affected both positively and not so positively. And again, it's only our spirits that judge. We judge ourselves. And and I see this so often when I'm channeling loved ones, is if the relationship on this plane was not premier, there were some issues, even if there's not issues, but even when I find when when our loved ones that pass on the other side have wronged us in ways, they are they are so by our sides trying to make that up to us on the other side. And again, they are never more alive than they are on the other side, and they are now mindful of what they did to hurt you in this lifetime, possibly. Again, they don't beat themselves up. At an optimal level, you are not, there's no, again, I always say finger pointing or rejection or any of those emotions, but they will do their best to wrong their right. And they just wait with open arms until you return. Because in a spirit's lifetime on this earth, it's a snap. It is a snap. And in a snap, you will be returning to them. So they are eagerly awaiting your return so you can all live in eternal happiness, and then choose to incarnate should you choose. Should you choose. So this vignette kind of uh, formalizes and ends my spirit's journey. And now with every vignette, I'm going to get a little deeper into different areas. So again, that was the end of the foundation. And if you've stayed with me for these first um, 10 vignettes, you will notice that it was very surface. But now we're going to go a little deeper and a little deeper. And I have many more vignettes to bring your way. So I hope you'll subscribe. I hope your heart is open or curious. And I always say if it's light, it's right. And that pearl is my metaphor, my three-dimensional metaphor of opening the truth. Sometimes that shell's easy to open, and sometimes it's really, really difficult. So we're going to be opening our shell as we move forward more into the vignettes. So I welcome you always to come to my vignettes. Right now, I say have a beautiful and blessed night.